this pipeline moved if it's going to be in our state? And why aren't they listening to us?
Here's the situation. We're going to get kicked out of here in 15 minutes. So please forgive me if I don't give you time to speak. Please go visit senators and speak to the people here. I'm from southern New York, Nebraska. The Keystone XL Pipeline is scheduled to come through our property. The issue today is the TransCanada's Keystone XL Pipeline. We need pipeline legislation to protect the citizens of our state. This is not your ordinary pipeline company. They do not answer letters. It was not until after my husband testified at the legislature hearing on pipeline bills that TransCanada even made a personal contact with us. They do not respect landowners. They bully and intimidate landowners. This is a serious issue, and we Nebraskans need protection. We have no protection. Some examples of needed protection are eminent domain. Does TransCanada have eminent domain? Is it in our national interest? The supplemental draft environmental impact statement says that the destination of the oil is uncertain. How can a foreign private company threaten U.S. citizens with eminent domain without a permit? In the event of a spill, who is liable? In the event of a disaster, who is liable? In the event of terrorism or earthquake, who is liable? The Nebraska sandhills are a national treasure. TransCanada, in their glossy brochure, says that they will restore the property, but the easements only say they are going to reclaim. There's a huge difference between reclamation and restoration. The sandhills have been disturbed on various occasions in the past, and you can still see the scars. Once the sandhills are disturbed in the manner that TransCanada proposes, it cannot be restored. In the supplemental draft EIS, only grass species provided by Keystone and not on the hundreds of native herbs, forbs, and flowers that are now thriving, holding the sand in place. How many years will the right-of-way be monitored? Is the pipeline really going to monitor the land for the next 90 years? The Ogallala Aquifer, in my opinion, is white gold, more precious than oil. It is also a national treasure. The pipeline should not cost millions of people's water supply. Is this your friendly neighborhood pipeline company? This is the issue of the decade, if not the century. There is a lack of federal connection to the citizens of the state of Nebraska. Very few of my letters to legislators, state or federal, have ever been answered. There have been few responses or replies. Our legislators choose to ignore its citizens. I challenge our legislators to protect the landowners and citizens of the state of Nebraska. The federal government won't. TransCanada won't. They won't even listen. Thank you.
At a pipeline informational meeting we held in Stewart April 17th, we had 150 people there. Not one of those people spoke up for the pipeline. And considering Stewart is only a population of 650 people, to me that is telling. I planted a tree on our acreage, our 40 acres last spring, and I was only down a couple feet and water was filling the hole. That's the Ogallala Aquifer water saturated that high. All through that part of whole county where the pipeline will be, it'll be submerged in the waters of the aquifer. We drink this water untreated and unfiltered. That's the water I've drank my entire life. I used to drink water straight from the windmills, straight from the irrigation pipes. That's how pure that water is there. The supplemental environmental impact statement issued by the Department of State only takes into consideration areas within a mile of the pipeline route. One leak into our aquifer and that's permanent, as we know from these other contamination sites. We have no second chances. Minute amounts of benzene, which is a natural component in oil, can contaminate large volumes of water and is very carcinogenic, meaning it can cause cancer. Who will be testing my private drinking water or Stewart City water for migrating contaminants from an undetected leaky pipeline? Pipelines, it's stated in the environmental impact statement, can have pinhole leaks. These aren't detected by monitors. but they can potentially release numerous barrels of oil daily unknowingly into our water supplies. Pinhole is a misleading term because with the high volume and high pressure, these could actually leak hundreds of gallons daily. How do I know what chemicals to test for in my water, since we're not privy to that information? Who will be routinely testing all the many water supplies? Who will be responsible for the cost of testing? Who will be financially responsible if the community's water supply becomes contaminated? Who will supply the bottled water? I think you know the statistics. The Ogallala Aquifer supplies 78% of the public water supply, 83% of the irrigation water in Nebraska. And this study by the State Department even admits the Sand Hills unit typically has a shallow water table less than 30 feet and is therefore a potential concern. This is more than a potential concern. This is a real concern for me and the people of Holt County. The Kalamazoo River in Michigan last summer, 840,000 gallons of tar sands oil gushed into that river. People, homeowners, landowners are still fighting in Enbridge for compensation. Several people had to abandon their homes there. April 22nd of 2011, this is a pinhole leak example. Ranchers found this pinhole leak in northwest Alberta riding their horses. Otherwise, that leak was undetected. That's how that was found. And the managing director there even admitted leaks too small to be detected by pressure changes can continue for some time before being noticed, particularly in remote areas. May 7th, 2011, 21,000 gallons of the toxic tar sands oil spilled in North Dakota. A North Dakota farmer said there, this could not happen, and here it is right in front of you. They told us it wouldn't happen, but he said it's right here in front of us. It was only discovered because a local landowner walked out of his house early that morning and looked over and saw a geyser shooting 60 feet up in the air. It was above the cottonwood trees there. The massive spill with the 60-foot geyser was the 12th confirmed leak on the Keystone XL Pipeline, which is TransCanada's first experience with an oil pipeline. With 12 leaks in the Keystone XL Pipeline during its first year of operation, how can we really believe it would be safe for TransCanada to build their second pipeline across our state's most valuable resource, our aquifer, our drinking water? I feel this supplemental State Department study is grossly inadequate. There's no mention of migrating contaminants that can reach our drinking water supplies beyond that mile that they refer to. Oil spills that poison our lands, water, and people are crimes against humanity, and leaders should be held accountable. Thank you.
We already have a pipeline through this state, and we already know that it wasn't done right, and the leaks in North Dakota prove that. TransCanada didn't do it right the first time. Why would we let them do it again? But we didn't do it right the first time either. Those people in that room didn't do it right, and we didn't do it right, and the people of this state allowed it to happen. And we have a chance to not allow this to happen again. We have a chance to create a boundary that we need. The risks for this project are known, and they are real. The benefits are speculative, at best. When you enter a long-term relationship with someone or something, you base it on respect and honesty and trust and accountability and compassion. And we have not seen any of those things from TransCanada. I'm going to do something about this, and I hope you all do too. Thank you.
I'm the president of Nebraska Farmers Union. I want to thank all of you for coming today, but our work is not done. We all need to write
letters to the Department of State, and we need to talk about why it is we need an extension and what our issues are. And we need to be able to talk to not just the Natural Resources Committee, but the entire legislature. And we need to start working the entire body. And so in order to do that, I encourage you to go to the offices of the state senators if they're able to come out. If not, go talk to their aides, their legislative aides, or the right folks to talk to. Write letters to the editor. Keep them coming. When folks go back home, you need to set up meetings and talk to your state senators back home in your districts. The landowners and the farmers and ranchers that we represent across the state are blowing in the wind and being put at risk because we can't address simple, basic, fundamental issues of liability, of financial assurance, of the proper use of eminent domain. We have failed to provide dispute resolution, and as a state we have failed to step up to the plate and do anything to assume our responsibilities to help provide guidance relative to the routing and siting of this pipeline. We, as a state, have failed to protect our state's primary economic and environmental interests, not to mention interests of private property. We have an opportunity here yet this session to get this issue addressed, and there is no good reason why this issue of major importance should not get airtime in that body right next door. Thank you for coming. Let's go to work.